Hi everyone, I'm Teresa Marzoff with Culture Engineered, and today I'm talking with you about the 3 reasons that open-minded people reject diversity in the workplace. So let's get started. A fairly recent study showed that only 9% of the US population actively rejects the idea and concept of diversity. So it leads to the question, why does this continue to be such a challenge for workplaces? We hear about this all the time, workplaces trying and creating strategies around creating diversity and inclusive workplaces and failing. So I have the 3 reasons here for you today. The first reason is because we still talk about diversity like it's a nice and courteous thing to do. It's nice because we should. It's the right thing to do. And while that's not untrue, obviously it is the right thing to do, it's much more than that. And I think it takes away from the true powerhouse that is diversity. So I think to really emphasize this point, let's talk about how the word and concept of diversity is used in different settings or backdrops. So in finance, diversification is a strategy, an investment strategy where you allocate investments in a variety of types of investments to minimize risk and, plan for financial wellness. So when you ask a financial expert why diversification is important, many would tell you that it is perhaps the most critical investment strategy for long-term financial success. And then if you look to agriculture, so if you ask, or I should say farming or crop diversification or crop diversity is usually a term used for one of 2 concepts, and they're very similar. One is a variety of crops on a piece of land, and the other meaning on that term is using farm resources for non-farm revenue producing activities. So if you were to ask an agriculture expert why crop diversity is important, he or she would tell you it's essential for a person engaged in agriculture to minimize their risk and seize opportunity. So risk being associated with the very fluctuating environment and price and demand, and seizing opportunity as far as looking for the best way to ensure their financial health. And then in science, when we talk about biodiversity, we're referring to the variety in nature, in our ecosystem, that allows for this kind of collaborative function as an entire ecosystem. So if you were to ask a scientist why diversity is important, one, he or she probably would tell you that it's actually something deeply rooted in evolution, that as the environment changes, we, through diversity, change as a reflection to survive in that environment. The more diversity, the less prone to extinction. So in essence, the more likely to survive. So when we talk about diversity as a nice, decent thing to do, while that's not untrue, we need to remember that it's much more than that. It is out of necessity and survival that diversity truly is an advantage to any group or population. The second reason we still see workplaces struggling to make diversity part of their culture is diversity being used as a legal term. So this is largely in response to the protections under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. The Title VII protects individuals from employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, and religion. So although these protections are extremely important and of course should be a natural component of any diversity commitment or plan, it's still just a part of it. True diversity is much more than this, and also it should never be thought of as a requirement. Again, we just talked about it. This is synonymous with healthy, diversity is synonymous with healthy and survival and advantage. So it's not just a nicety, but it's also not just this aspect of compliance. Compliance is part of it, but not all of it. To truly be diverse, we need to realize that why diversity is such a strength is it, as a group, allows us different insights and perceptions and makes us stronger as a group through those insights and perceptions. The advantage that that gives to other companies is huge. So again, I think a great example of this is when you're looking at sexual orientation. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which is the group that generally oversees compliance through Title VII protections, they did not classify sexual orientation as a protected class until 2015. Now think about your employees that you have that are gay or homosexual, and the day before the EEOC classified that group as protected versus after. Were those individuals any more or less valuable the day before or after this legal change? Of course not. They were just as valuable the day before as after. However, we tend to look through this very limited lens that is a legal definition. So again, the people that we're talking about under that protection, their value was because of the unique perceptions and skill sets that they bring to your team, separate from anything that they represent as a protected class. So we should remember that while diversity is partly compliance, it's not compliant in its entirety. This is a choice, and this is a definite purpose. And then the third reason that we still see the struggle to truly embrace the true meaning of diversity in our workplaces is fear. So I think it's fair to say, and we should be more honest about this, that it is challenging to truly incorporate diverse work groups. This means looking to your left and to your right and looking to keep the maximum amount of variety in your group, in your company. It's going to be challenging. For example, what type of benefits do you offer? Some may prefer based on their life. Some will prefer high-end benefits. Some may prefer, if you're talking about diverse incomes, some may prefer more affordable benefits. Maybe some prefer benefits for family planning. Some prefer benefits that mimic, retirement plans. So again, you're being pulled in a variety of directions, and I think with respect to this, one of the most common questions that we get is how do we create a core set of values and commit to those core set of values and still allow for enough flexibility to bring in folks and not exclude individuals that can take us in innovative directions. And I think this is a really fair question. So it's all about finding your balance. So I have for you 3 steps to help bring value to your workplace diversity mission today. The first is stop talking about it in a shallow respect. Stop talking about just it shouldn't be a pipe dream. Diversity is a true strategic initiative. For example, do you have to convince people why sales are critical for your business function? No. Everyone understands the importance of sales for any business to survive. This can be also said about diversity. It is critical and essential for your business's survival. The second thing is stop talking about what you're required to do, this diversity as a compliance measure. Understand and always remain compliant, yes, but keep in mind, this is just a very small part of the true amazing concept that is diversity. This is like the difference between your overall mission versus a task. This isn't something you check off at the end of the day. This is constantly something you're striving to achieve, and it's often changing. And then the third thing that you can do today is to crave feedback. I think this is a big thing that we see, where we see companies fall short. You work to put an amazing team together, diverse, lots of great, amazing perceptions that no doubt has a lot to offer to your company. And then we fail to engage their feedback, not even just engage, seek to obsess over their feedback about everything. This should be about your services and products and how you function. This should also be about your employee experience. You should always look for feedback to better understand what is wanted and the other amazing perceptions that are out there and the value that that brings your business. I think this would be similar to going to an amazing, beautiful, maybe the most beautiful landscape that our universe has to offer, blindfolded. You have to embrace, you have to engage with the or experience the opportunity in order to really benefit from it. So hopefully this gets you started. If you need additional help creating a culture that truly embraces diversity, please reach out to Culture Engineered. Otherwise, we're also talking about this really important topic this week at Phoenix Startup Week, and in the presentation, creating a workplace for the ages, and talking about the different generational divide that we see in our workplaces today. Thanks so much.